Lecastete, meanwhile, maybe not quite as what's the word I'd like to say? Maybe not quite as accomplished, but still a strong player. He
No,
also
but
came into
still a
the
strong player. And he did put up a really good fight versus Hassa in the
right.
round of 32.
Yeah. I think he's also a player who's come onto the scene relatively recently, maybe within the past year or so. I might be wrong about that, but I didn't really see his name until maybe about a year ago.
You're probably right. I know him well because I practiced a lot with him. Maybe not so much recently, but when I was like a few months back, I would practice a lot with Lecastete, and I've been playing a lot with iamturk as well.
Yeah. So speaking of iamturk, spawning up here in the northeastern side of the map, we do have iamturk playing the red Dutch. And down here in the bottom left side of the map, we have Lecastete playing the blue Indians.
Yes, and I do believe it was a wood start.
I wasn't able to verify that, yeah. That might be important.
Yeah. So sometimes you see the Dutch player dropping a market in age 1, or even take an early trading post. But it looks like he's just gonna leave his 100 wood crate on the floor until later.
Okay. It makes sense, yeah. It looks like he's not going to be going for that market or that trading post.
Yeah.
But it's perfectly acceptable to do that. He might be looking for one of the wood treasures on the map before he goes for it. I can see that Lecastete did find one, this 85 wood over here, and I know that there's a 90 wood treasure
nice.
as well. Just looking around for it.
Yeah, it looks like it's one big wood treasure on each side of the map.
Yeah. I know that.
Yeah, this matchup is something we see, I guess, more often today. It was quite common in the last major tourney, because India was really strong then, or they were considered really strong, and Dutch was also really strong with the cheaper banks. So that's why we saw that matchup a lot of times in the last tourney.
Yeah, and there's still civs that I think that we've been seeing a lot this tournament, especially really the Indians have been doing very well, especially with their fast industrial strategy. I've been noticing. Meanwhile, the Dutch still a pretty common civ to see
Yeah.
in different matchups.
Dutch has probably more number of weak matchups than India does, but Dutch seem to do relatively fine versus India. So that's why we see it this matchup quite a lot.
So it looks like Lecastete is going to be picking up that 85 wood treasure with his 2 elephants. Meanwhile, iamturk is working on the 90 wood treasure on his own, just picking up a treasure in the meantime, but going for the creeping on the lions. It looks like he won't have too much trouble picking it up. Lecastete, meanwhile, actually finds the 50 wood treasure back in his behind his main base. So having a very nice pickup of 2 wood treasures there.
We do see a forward villager from the India player, and Dutch aged up at standard 15 wills, and India is aging relatively fast. I think around 3 minutes is absolutely decent. And he did get a wood treasure, which helps you age up a bit earlier. So that's nice for him.
Yeah. Both players going with the pretty typical cards of distributivism and 3 villagers. Taking a look at iamturk's deck, we see something that I think would also be fairly typical. A little bit light on, it looks like it's missing one of the cards that you might sometimes put in age 3, but you have the 2 heavy cannons down in age 4. And then the typical wood crates that you would see in a few unit shipments as well.
Yeah, he's actually missing a card. Like he has 24 cards instead of 25.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay, I was wondering.
Yeah, that's a bit of a mistake. You might have wanted like colonial Milita or something like that. But probably not going to be a huge deal for him, I think, in this game.
Probably not. Yeah, something that's too critical. It is worth mentioning, I think, that Dutch, they do not get a 5 hussar shipment in age 3. They only get access to 4 hussars. And a lot of players are willing to just take that sacrifice and still include the 4 Hussar card in their deck, just because it's such a powerful card even without that extra Hussar, and it's so important in many cases to have cavalry.
It really helps if you want to make a Hussar switch,
Right.
to get those 4 extra. But yeah, we see Lecastete has dropped a market already, and he's getting the tier 1 upgrades. So it looks like he's maybe not going for a very all-in rush, but a much more economic build instead.
Does look like that. Yeah, I did see he's gotten. Looks like the full upgrade came in. The I don't remember its exact name. The all 3 upgrade, and he is researching the gold one as well. Off of this market, probably will be finishing up with food when he can. A little bit of a deny for one of the banks that Lecastete managed with his elephants, and it delayed the bank a little bit for iamturk. But he did eventually get his 2 banks up, and starting with the barracks as well.
Yeah, one thing I want to point out, he's placed his banks in a little bit awkward position.
Yeah.
He's placed one of the banks in between the town center and his forward mine, which could become an issue later in the game.
Yeah, that's true.
But for now, he's fine with the more side, the mine located to the side.
Yeah. Interestingly, that was a bank that he wanted to put closer to his forward house, and so in front of the mine and next to the house. But the denial actually forced him to put it over onto this side.
Yeah, we do see the bank wagon come out and taking a few hits from the sepoys, but as soon as you place the foundation, it does build quite fast, so it's not really an issue that he had the monks and the 3 sepoys sieging it.
Yeah, he just had to be a little careful not to accidentally lose the bank wagon before it goes up, which he was able to avoid.
Exactly. Yeah.
So a few sepoys being lost for Lecastete there, nothing too critical. We did see his shipment order is going to go for the, that's actually going to be really nice, yeah, if you can get that.
Yeah, it's always nice to place the Agra in a location or close to a treasure, and I think, yeah, he's going to take the stable treasure. That's actually a huge treasure.
Yeah, taking it pretty easily as well. It looks like he's doing really well, just keeping all of his hit points pretty high and getting a lot of splash damage down. So yeah, he'll be able to make a stable off of this. Most likely not going for the barracks. I would expect the stable or the Indian equivalent. And we see the 300 export came in from the consulate, or for the consulate, plus the allies with the Ottomans. And so I think we could see a pretty substantial Hussar switch out of this, or sorry, not Hussar, but Cav switch, really.
Yeah, I wonder if Lecastete is going to set up a timing or going to age. It looks like he's gathering to age, I believe. He already on imperial bureaucracy, and he sent the Ottoman villagers as well. So I assume we'll see 600 coin any moment and an age up from that.
Yeah, that seems like it would make sense. I think the 600 coin card is going to be arriving any moment now. I did kind of expect just a Cav timing, but I agree that Fortress Age seems more likely, and then we might even see him go up to Industrial off of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he can go Industrial versus an early Dutch timing in Fortress, but I mean, iamturk didn't have or doesn't have a lot of anti-cab, so some sort of cab timing could have been good, but he's aging quite early, to be honest. He's aging about the same time as Dutch, which is pretty good, and he's adding a trading post as well.
Yeah, I saw the trading post go up. Probably even a second, or yeah, it looks like a second trading post will be going down as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if we even saw a third.
It's actually a really greedy build from Lecastete. We see they're almost even in recalculated economic population.
And I think we should talk a little bit about the style that you might want to play when you're playing against someone of a slightly different skill level. I think it's not unfair to say, even though Lecastete's a great player, to describe iamturk as being slightly better. And when that is the case, it's often good to take slightly unconventional builds, to take some amount of risk. And that can include just going for a greedier build like this, or going for something more aggressive.
But knowing Lecastete a bit, I do believe he likes to play this type of more economical build with India. So I don't think it's something he only does versus a little bit better rated player, because I think it's just his style of India.
Okay, I see it. Looks like, yeah, the Charmander Gate Age 3 Wonder will be coming up just now, and we'll have to see what his first card in Age 3 is.
Yeah, Turk is up though, and he sent in 9 routers, and I do believe he's gonna pick up the Indian Explorers. He is.
Yeah, not quite getting that third trading post, but he's still got 2 of them. Probably not enough for him to stay. Well, actually, he did just stagecoach, so.
Oh wow.
Yeah, maybe not quite the timing he was hoping for. He was probably hoping to get that third trading post up, but iamturk noticing the 2 going up, saying, okay, there's probably a third coming on the way, so let's move over there.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to hold these trading posts. We see iamturk is going for skirm Reuter composition, while Lecastete is making sepoy, and for his mixing, he's making mainly Gurkha and adding sour.
Yeah, unfortunately his army just isn't very large right now, and there's way more Reuters and skirms than he can really deal with. Maybe he has to be a bit careful here not to get caught out by the Reuters. He is pulling back, unfortunately for him.
Yeah.
Maybe not enough Gurkhas right now to deal with the Reuter mass.
Yeah, he's trying to go for a raid while Turk is sieging the trading post, which is a fine decision, but he's not going to find many exposed villagers in the base of iamturk.
Yeah, he had to pull back. I don't think he actually got a villager. He was able to put down a bit of pressure, but he's gonna have to pull back now.
Yeah,
Doesn't want to
he
lose
just
too many
idled
units.
for a bit, and Turk is heavily ahead on skirm count, so he's going to be able to poke under the aggro, but he's got to be careful because the 7 Yurumi has arrived. I'm not sure how big impact the Yurumi is going to make in this fight. We see that Lecastete, he aged with the Charmander Gate, so we won't be seeing any ceasefire, but he does have the Towers and the Gardeners to do some snaring.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Rumi, it's harder when they don't get popped right onto your base or right onto your units. It's a lot harder to actually move them into position. Still getting a decent fight, but there are some trees available to block, and that favors iamturk more than Lecastete. Even so, Lecastete, or rather iamturk, is managing to do pretty well here, I think.
Yeah, Turk is doing a good job at hit and running. We see that the Yurumis are kind of like sacking behind. They're not on top of the skirms they want to be.
Yeah, but still, the Gurkha count is pretty good for Lecastete right now. I think the Gurkhas do outnumber the skirmishers, and there's a Minsabdo somewhere around here. He does have to pull back now because it's only Gurkha, not any Cav. Reuter mass actually was pretty substantial.
Yeah, the problem for Lecastete right now is that he only has Gurkha. So if Turk was to make a large switch at the moment, Lecastete could be in big trouble.
Yeah, has to be careful about that. I don't think Hussars are here yet. It's possible that he does have that card on the way. Actually, no, the 8 skirmishers is coming out, keeping the skirm count pretty high for him.
We see that the eco is still very close, but Turk was able to grab the middle trading post as well. So he's actually ahead on eco right now.
Yeah, he is going to be trying to contest this, but I don't think Lecastite's army is enough to do it right now. He's going to have to rebuild a little bit. The scrum count is
Yeah.
roughly even for the players, but there are so many raiders available for iamturk right now. And Lecastete, he's about half of the military population right now.
Yeah, he does have the upgrade for the Gurkha in just now. So he's gonna be able to take better trades from that.
We do see him actually making another stable, but he did have a pop of I think about 10 Gurkha. No Soars
Yeah,
in
and
queue,
Turk
actually
is
Zamparaks.
mixing, Turk is mixing Hussars at this moment. It looks like he's just gonna raid with them instead of using them in fight.
Yeah, Lecastete is actually preparing for that with Zamparaks of his own, but unfortunately, Zamparaks aren't going to be doing too much against the army that iamturk has right now. So the scrim count is getting a little bit low. Yeah, actually a raid going
Yeah,
down.
we see a raid in the bottom corner, bottom side of the map.
Yeah, actually, Lecastete actually isn't noticing that, and that's not going to go great. Maybe 6 or 7 villagers there that are going down. He is going to do okay in this fight at the top, but I think with this reinforcing batch of 10 skirmishers, he is going to fall behind on this one too. And most likely this aggro fort is going to be...
This is looking great for Turk. We do have 7 more Gurkha riding, which might be able to swing it into Lecastete's favor, but I do still think that iamturk is in a good spot.
Yeah, I think, I mean, with these 5 outsiders arriving, we had a bunch of batches of Gurkha popping out, but I don't think that they can handle the army with the reinforcing skirms, with the reinforcing hussars. And I think that Lecastete is going to be losing the rest of this Gurkha army. I think that these were actually the raiding hussars.
It was the raiding hussars,
Right.
yeah. And Lecastete, he just never had enough anti-cab to properly deal with a cab switch from Dutch players.
Yeah, he had a few Zamparaks, but they weren't too effective. And he was using them against the fight, against the skirmishers and the raiders, instead of saving them for the cap timing. But unfortunately, he didn't really have too much of a choice there, just because, hey, he was so far behind in the military count.
Yeah, I feel like Lecastete, he was in a fine spot, but he chose to go a bit too greedy, adding trading posts and also dropping a second town center.
Yeah.
Was maybe a bit too greedy versus Dutch strong fortress push.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that Lecastete took 2 trading posts and then went for the stagecoach, and then before he could get the 3rd trading post up, iamturk noticed what was going on and denied that 3rd trading post, then took one of the trading posts back. And as a result, there's a huge swing of resources.
That was actually quite a big moment because, like I said, he also lost the explorers.
Right.
And that's like 1,000 hit points that you can use, or even more, that you can use to tank in the fights. And he never had those available later in the game, which is a disadvantage, of course.
Yeah, it's a pretty. What would we say? It's about 400 wood, 200 food that went into the stagecoach and the trading post, plus all the units from, I guess, plus just the hit points from those monks. Both of those 2 relatively small things did have an unfortunate effect for Lecastete, and he will be going down. iamturk currently leading 1-0 in the best of 3.
He kind of wanted a better engage with the Yurumi. Had he gotten a better engage, he could maybe had swing the game into his favor, but the Yurumi kind of got stuck in the trees and was never really able to do a lot of damage. They just got out-kited by the skirms and the routers.
Okay. Tabben, I am getting that I have to turn you up a little bit more. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Let me see if I can figure this out. I can turn me down more, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I have my mic at max on Discord,
Okay.
so I'm kind of I can't like make any changes to make it louder. You can
Okay.
try in OBS if you can turn it up.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, because if I have like 3 or 4 people saying I'm too quiet, so maybe if you can't turn it up, maybe it's better to do just one player casting, or what do you
I
think?
turned myself down and then I turned my sound up, and that might be enough. Yeah, so I edited the sound a little bit, but now I'm unfortunately not able to alt tab because otherwise it will ruin my sound. Um, due to the
Okay, but yeah, Comet is telling me to. I should tell you to turn me up a bit.
Yep, I took care of that. Okay, so iamturk leading 1-0. He did pick India, and Lecastete. I could see him going for just Dutch and going for the reverse of the previous series. Um, India, very strong civilization on this map, partially because it doesn't have trading posts, and yeah, actually Lecastete going for that Dutch pick. So previously, um, the matchup was Lecastete on the Indians and iamturk on the Dutch. Now we have the reverse: Lecastete on the Dutch, iamturk on the Indians. Lecastete apologizing to us for
They are
something.
reversing.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but I could see why both players would want to pick these civs on this map, and why they'd want to pick the civs they picked on the previous map as well. Of course, Gran Chaco is a no trading post map, and Dutch and Indians are both civilizations that can handle not having a trading post, and makes them very popular picks on this map.
Yeah, India is considered to be strong on non-trading post maps, but it's not like completely one-sided. I've heard some people think that India actually needs, or his playstyle, he thinks India really needs a trading post. That's what I've heard him say at least. But Dutch definitely does fine on non-trading post maps.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we see them a lot on this type of map.
So, spawning up here in the northwestern side of the map, playing the blue Dutch, is Lecastete. Down here in the bottom side of the map, in the southeast, in the red Indians, is iamturk, currently leading 1-0 in a best of 3. This is the second chance round of
and I
32.
do think the hunts seem fair. It
Yeah.
seems like they both have about 3 hunts that could be herded.
Yeah, I did a quick check and it looked roughly fair, so I
Yes.
decided to go for it. iamturk actually picking up a very early 100 XP treasure. Nice pickup for him. It is going to have an effect, a positive effect for his getting his H1 shipment out a little bit sooner. And we can see his deck.
And
Go ahead,
but
sorry.
it looks like Lecastete is grabbing all of the llamas.
Yeah, it does look like it. So let's see. He's gotten 2, 4, 6, and we see the 8. Okay, yeah. So he has picked up every single llama on this map. There are usually 8, or always going to be 8 llamas that spawn here.
Yeah, but it looks like iamturk, he kind of intentionally decided to go for the treasures instead.
Yeah, iamturk picked up 2 100 XP treasures, so he's going to have his first shipment out already on the way, and it's kind of like if you pick up the llamas, you're investing in the future, because for India they'll be giving you XP over the course of the game. But if you pick up the XP treasures, you're investing in them now, getting.
Yeah, you get the trickle earlier, but I do believe a few llamas might be worth more in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure about that one. He got his trickle already. That's quite nice.
Yeah, it's nice to have. I don't know if it's going to have a huge effect, but in really either direction. But yeah, It's nice. It's nice to get the ear trickle in sooner. But I do
Yeah.
agree that it would have been nice if he had picked up maybe even just 2 llamas. But he is going to actually pick up this 100 food treasure as well. Unfortunately,
Yeah, but I think Lecastete is has either scouted it or is just heading there, so it's gonna be contested for sure.
yeah, Lecastete found it. And unfortunately, this is not an easy treasure to take for Indians, especially because the blowgunners were not together, and so he can't do any of the um, splash damage together with them. So they
Yeah, that's
do come
quite
back.
annoying. If you're lucky, you can like catch them while they're standing next to each other, but Turk is losing one monk and he's losing the treasure as well.
Yeah, nice pickup for Lecastete, getting the monk down. Even if he didn't get the XP, he still made a lot of progress by getting the monk. Uh, and Lecastete, of course, picking the treasure up as well. 100 food, good pickup. Agrafort went down for iamturk. I believe that Lecastete knows about it. I'm not 100% sure now.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a defensive. Oh, yep, we can do that.
Yes. Yeah, the aggro placement is a bit awkward. It's sort of defensive, but it could easily be bypassed by your enemy because it's more to the side. It's not entirely in front of your base.
Yeah, it did seem a little defensive, and Lecastete saying his cat was jumping on his PC, but looks like it's all sorted out now. So it's good to not have your cat messing with you while you're trying to play.
Yeah, he does have a cat. He's shown it on stream, so we can be sure that he's not making it up at least. It's not a tactical force.
Yeah, if right when the big battle starts, you say, "Ah, my cat can't do anything about it," you know.
Exactly.
So look at that. He is
But
getting his bank up, and maybe doesn't have the resources to get that second bank up maybe quite as soon as he wanted to. iamturk, meanwhile, getting the age up. But yeah, I agree that this aggro is a little awkwardly placed. Doesn't really. It's guarding resources, but it's doesn't have quite the right
I think
angle.
it's maybe not going to be a huge deal. He's placed it on his side of the map because I do believe he likes to play a bit more passive,
Mhm.
similar to what Lecastete did the previous game.
I see. We do also see that iamturk went for the market similar to Lecastete in the previous game. Not quite the same upgrade path. He went for the food followed by the gold upgrade, but we'll most likely be seeing the all 3 resource upgrade coming in any moment now as
Definitely, yeah.
well. Lecastete, meanwhile, getting up his second bank. We'll see if he goes for that, tries to slip that third bank in before making a barracks, or if he'll go for the barracks first. When he bets on his market, all these things are questions that we can ask.
I think if Lecastete scouts the somewhat defensive aggro, he
Right.
might just go super greedy, like at least 4 banks, and then just try to age up as soon as possible.
Yeah, and we do see him actually dropping that third bank down, so he's not expecting too much aggression coming in for him.
Yeah,
Maybe feeling
because
nice.
if you scout like a very forward aggro and a consulate next to it, you really need some sort of defense
Yeah.
earlier. But he's adding a market as well. But Turks trained 5 Gurkha and gonna try to apply some pressure on the Dutch base.
Yeah, Gurkha coming in. They're going to have a little bit longer range than 5 Sepoy, but maybe not quite as effective in certain areas, especially with siege, although, of course, it's hard to get any siege down on these banks early on. Picks off a villager, which is nice for him. Lecastete putting that 4th bank pretty defensively as well, kind of settling in front of the town center and forming a big line of banks here. Getting that barracks down behind his town center. It's going to be hard to actually walk over due to the placement of the aggro. It's a pretty easily defendable barracks location for him.
Yeah, I think he's gonna train maybe like 5 skirms, and he should be able to repel this pressure without much problem.
Yeah. couple of villagers having a little bit of a tough time. It was a little close for a couple of them, but manages to not lose any additional ones. Going to lose the Explorer, but he's getting some damage down on the Gurkhas as compensation.
We actually see Turk shipping 600 coin as his third card, which is quite interesting. He's gonna try to age up already.
Yeah, that's actually nice for him. I think Lecastete was a little bit mismacroed in the previous game when he was playing India and going for that age 3.
Yeah.
I mean, he did go for that 300 export before going 600 coin, and as a result, the timing is a little bit different. But iamturk, I think that he's going to get that. Well, he is also maybe just a little slow getting that 100 coin, or that last 100 coin.
Yeah.
But now we see him dropping the wonder down, and
yeah, I think that Turk got really good value from his push because he forced Lecastete to not go full greed. He couldn't go like 5 bank FF, and he also forced a lot of idle time, which really gonna slow down the fortress time, age time from Lecastete.
Yeah, we can see actually iamturk has put 8 villagers on this wonder right now, whereas Lecastete hasn't even begun his age up, and unfortunately he's still 300 food away from being able to age up. So iamturk has potential to do a really nice time.
Aging, yeah, I think he's going with Tower of Victory. Usually he goes for this one, and it gives 800 wood on age up, which is really nice boost in fortress.
Yeah, he does have a shipment available for him once he hits age 3, so I do expect him to go for some sort of timing here. Lecastete, meanwhile, he has started his age up. He's going to get his stable up as well. Not any military units, I think, in queue. He does have actually, okay, both players have Gurkha or skirmishers in queue right now.
Yeah, they're both aged up, and Lecastete has a shipment as well. I do believe he's gonna send 1k wood as first card, but Turk doesn't really need any wood at the moment. He has a lot of from the age up, so it looks like he's gonna add a barracks and maybe a stable as well.
Yeah, we see the
But
barracks
he
going
doesn't have a consulate yet. Okay, he's adding a consulate as well.
Yeah, so it looks like no stable going up for iamturk just yet. He does actually have enough wood that he could make one if he wanted to. We'll see if that's what he ends up going for.
I do believe we will see a stable. I do think he prefers to go for a Gurkha and Sambarak composition. But yeah, we'll have to see.
Oh, really nice actually for Lecastete, yeah. Getting a great catch off on those Gurkha. Not really much that iamturk can do right now. He does have, okay, maybe enough Gurkha to maybe take this, but it's possible that, yeah, okay, Lecastete is going to pull back. But still great pick off of 6 or 7 Gurkha there.
It looks like Lecastete was maybe scared of a 9 SAM shipment or something like that arriving, but we see that Turk actually didn't have anything coming to protect the Gurkha.
Yeah.
So, but I still think maybe it was a fine decision of Lecastete to pull back. He could have tried to gamble a bit and pick up a few more Gurkhas, I think.
Yeah, it is possible that with this 5+ heart, he would have just been able to continue to go on, and perhaps even won the game off of that. I do think that it was smart just to pull back and to play a little bit more safely, because he got an advantage from that. We can see he does have a pretty substantial military and economic population advantage. It was possibly just a bit of a safer play to say, okay, right, I took a good exchange there. I don't need to go for the greedy build and try to win the game outright, because if I continue to play conservatively, I'll be able to just extend my lead and win from that.
Yeah, exactly. He does have like 5 banks in his base, so it's no reason to overcommit just yet.
Yeah.
And I think also maybe, that's nice.
Yeah. 2 villagers go down in the bottom side of the map, and then a few more down in the northern side. Lecastete pushing in with a lot of different units. iamturk has his Gurkha in the top, but they're not really actually going to see much. And it's going to be hard for them to siege down anything important.
Yeah, this is kind of awkward. They're both pushing each other's base. And iamturk is pushing with only Gurkha, and we see a huge Hussar
Yeah.
from Lecastete.
Hopefully he can get those Hussars onto the Gurkha.
He should be able to clean up all of the Gurkha, I believe.
Yeah, Zamburak's going up into the top.
But the monks are doing a good job at tanking, and the Zamburaks are heading towards the Hussars.
Yeah, skirmisher's not quite there. Still a lot of Hussars on all of the Gurkha now. iamturk going for the inspiration. He does have 9 Zamburaks, and that might just actually be enough to clean everything up. But the skirmishers are on the way, and still a lot of Hussars left.
But they're a bit late to the party, the skirmishers from Lecastete, and they were being snared by a single sentry, which slowed them down quite a bit.
Yeah, okay. Looks like maybe not the game-winning exchange that Lecastete was possibly hoping for when he got that pop onto just pure Gurkha. Good job with the snaring from the monks, keeping the Hussars from getting the right engagement. But still, I think overall a good trade for Lecastete. He kept his skirmisher mass up pretty high.
Yeah, he was definitely hoping to get a better trade, but he's still in a perfectly fine spot, I think.
Yeah, the Zamburak count for iamturk isn't that great right now. He actually does get these 2 Mahouts, and that might be the reverse of what we saw.
And Lecastete does not have any routers just yet.
Yeah, he only has these Hussars to block, but that's going to be tough. One of the Mahouts is getting down to half hit points. Not many Zamburaks, and that is the one saving grace that Lecastete has, that the Hussars are actually hard to kill. But similarly, the Mahouts are hard, and
the Mahouts are getting they're getting so good damage on these skirmishers.
Yeah, 4 Hussars coming out for Lecastete, but didn't get the connection onto the Gurkha. Still, there's a lot of Hussars left. Maybe he'll be able to make that push down, but I know he's still pulling back, and maybe that was a little too conservative, actually.
That was like the best trade that iamturk could hope for, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of the risk when you don't add any anti-cav.
6 musketeers here for iamturk, looking for some villagers to pick off, but actually Lecastete has mostly populated this eastern or northern side of the map, so these redcoats aren't going to be finding anything. It's a good decision I think to go for this sort of raiding style with these redcoats, because I think in a main fight with so much skirmishers out, they're just not going to do that much in the main army. And so I like this little...
He's actually picking up a treasure with them, but he's not going to be able to pick up the treasure because there's simply no villager or...
Those explorers are currently sitting dead. He might just try to move his redcoats over because there's no army there for Lecastete. Try to move the redcoats into the base, move the explorers back, and then pick the treasure up. We'll see if that's what he goes for.
Turk is he's heavily ahead in skirm count. He's taking much better trades, but Lecastete has the maybe 10 Hussars, and there aren't many Zamburaks at this moment. So if they were to fight now, I would probably favor Lecastete, I think.
I think so too, yeah. The Zamburak count, I mean, I think there's only the Zamburaks that iamturk shipped in, the 9 he shipped, and now there's only 4 of those left. The Hussar count is huge.
He didn't add a stable, did he?
I don't see it. So actually, he might not have a way to make Zamburaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Lecastete, if he realized that there actually weren't any Zamburaks that iamturk could even make, he would know that he can just push in pretty much for free.
Then he would definitely push, but he's playing a bit careful, and I feel like the longer time Lecastete waits, the more opportunity he gives iamturk to come back into the game.
Definitely, yeah. We could see iamturk actually going for sepoys instead of Zamburaks, just because he doesn't have that stable. He doesn't even have the 7 Zamburak card in his deck, so the 4 Zamburaks we see are the only ones he'll ever possibly be making the entire game.
That's like the best unit he could add at this moment.
Yeah.
because he knows I think he knows that there are like a lot of hussars on the field.
Yeah, Lecastete shipping that infantry combat card still has so many hussars, and I think he can take a great engagement. I mean, this sepoy count isn't actually that great, and I think there's about as many hussars as there are sepoy, and so
I
if
think
he
Lecastete might try to go for a flank around this little two-piece settlement. Yeah, he's definitely gonna try to flank
yeah,
now,
but
but
maybe
it's
that
getting spotted.
yeah, I think the blocks could be made and might not go too well. Actually, the hussars slipping in just there. Uh, Still, maybe coming in around from the other side would have been better. Not any Gurkha getting lost just yet. A couple of sepoy getting picked off, a couple of skirmishers on the Lecastete side getting picked off. Raid going down on the left side, and I don't think iamturk has actually noticed yet, which is good for him.
Yeah, it's only 2 hussars, but since it's unnoticed, he could kill a lot of villagers.
Yeah. Now going in for the engagement. He has to be careful. Yeah, he doesn't want to lose too many hussars before he gets onto the Gurkha. Maybe the Gurkha count isn't that high compared to the skirm count, and so Lecastete could potentially take this engagement. But yeah, I think he's...
they both have upgrades for their skirms, but the hussars haven't been able to do any damage really. They just have to avoid the sepoys all the time, so he has so much units that can't really fight at this moment.
Yeah, okay, now coming in for the attack, but now actually pulling back again. Really awkward positioning on the hussars always. And yeah, getting another smash right into the sepoy, not really the one he wants to go for. Still, the sepoy count is getting a little low, but actually no, it's coming in with reinforcing sepoy from the top.
Yeah, there's more reinforcing sepoys. And we see Lecastete has some idle units in Turk's base that he really needs to swing this fight right now.
Yeah, they were going for the raid, but not really finding anything. I mean, the hussars did a lot of work. He does have a pretty good villager lead right now, and I think the hussars are still looking around for villagers. And iamturk just didn't notice them. But unfortunately, the fight in the main base didn't really go Lecastete's way.
Yeah, the hussars are doing good raiding, but it's not gonna matter if he can't repel the pressure in his base right now.
Yeah. Oh, well, we have Hackapels coming out.
Wow. But they're so on top of the sepoys, and they're getting blocked by the banks as well.
Let's see. I mean, he had a pretty good pop there of units, but there's still a pretty good number of sepoy. And
he's getting out good numbers of units, but it's just not the type of units he needs.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting these great pops of units, but a lot of them are just running around and not actually doing damage. They keep getting picked off, trying to get into the right position, but in some sense, because of the sepoy count, there isn't really a great position to go for. And unfortunately, all these units fall again.
I didn't expect this unit composition from iamturk. I thought he would be going Gurkha Samurai, but it seems like with the Agrafort and Barracks, he just decided to go Sepoy Gurkha instead, which proved to be quite successful.
Yeah, I think it actually went really well for him. I think that possibly if we saw the Gurkha Zam, I think that Lecastete might have just been willing to take like a big smash in with the cavalry and just gone for it and tried to overwhelm the Gurkha. But because of these sepoy, Lecastete, we saw he was so concerned about not pushing in and kept pulling back with the cav, but the sepoy kept getting these attacks off, and so many of the cav went down without actually accomplishing really anything at all.
Yeah, it looks like Turk is in a really good spot now. I think some villagers escaping, but I don't really see how Lecastete can deal with the sepoy mass right now.
Yeah, he does have another batch of skirmishers out, and they can kite for a while, but the sepoy count is getting extraordinarily high. He is also losing some of the villagers, so he's going to lose his economic lead. And yeah, iamturk just has to find where the rest of the villagers are gathering, and I think that he'll be in a pretty commanding position for the rest of the game. Looks like, yeah, Lecastete pulling off. Okay, iamturk just going to go for the house there instead.
Yeah, he pulls the wheels in time, but it's looking rough. He can't really gather anywhere. If he, I think the monks in the base might scout the villagers that are gathering there,
Oh, yeah.
or at least they walked on top of. And I think Turk will find the outpost as well.
Yeah. Has actually iamturk even made a stable yet? I'm gonna go with. Oh, okay. He's made 2 stables. Yeah, I saw this raid down. iamturk does notice, although I think Lecastete got 2 villagers off of that. I mean, Lecastete, he's gotten decent skirm mass out. The
Yeah,
seapoint
but
count is getting
three.
low. Yeah,
We
but the
see
3
three
raids, yeah.
Mahouts coming in for iamturk, and I believe that's gonna be the death sentence for Lecastete.
That wouldn't be surprising. Yeah.
Yes, he's
Yeah, he goes for
and
the deletion.
yes, the best resign.
It's always nice when there's multiple
Yeah, that was
players.
quite a good game, to be honest. I think Lecastete, he was in a absolutely fine spot. He was actually winning in early fortress. He caught the Gurkha with the 5 early hussars, and I think he could have played a little bit more confident and
Yeah,
tried to pick off more Gurkha, because it's Turk was kind of caught out of position, so it wasn't obvious that he was gonna have anti-cav coming just in time. And also we saw that Lecastete, he was pushing the base of iamturk, but decided to go back as soon as he saw Turk pushing his base. So it was sort of a base trade that favored iamturk, because Lecastete, he had the hussars to deal with the Gurkha,
Yeah.
but he kind of engaged too late, and by the time he engaged, there were Sams to defend the Gurkha.
It was awkward
So
for
yeah,
Lecastete,
I feel like
agree.
yeah,
He had that early engagement where he picked off Gurkha for free and possibly could have won the game if he continued pushing, but he made the correct decision, I think, to pull back. But then he saw that second engagement where his hussars basically on only Gurkha, and if that engagement had gone slightly differently, if the monks hadn't been positioned, or if Lecastete had just forced himself onto the Gurkha rather than trying to deal with the monks, or the skirmishers were pulled back a little bit further and thus weren't so late to the fight, I think he also would have won the game out there. If the sepoy composition, he had microed that a little bit more effectively, didn't lose quite so many hussars to the sepoy mass before getting onto the Gurkha, I again think he would have won. He had some great raids, he had some great positioning in a lot of different parts of the game, but
yeah. I think we see, like, the military graphs, we see that he had like more stuff, but took much worse trades. And he also lost so many skirms to the 2 Mahouts shipment due to not making any anti-cav in Fortress, which is always a risk to not have any anti-cav early.